After going 2-0 down, Aston Villa bounced back to draw 2-2 with Arsenal, putting a massive dent in their title hopes. And in this video, we're going to be breaking down how they did it, including a look at the weakness that Arsenal had and how Aston Villa exploited it to brilliant effect. Aston Villa really struggled in the first half against Arsenal, and this was predominantly down to their left-hand side, something that Unai Emery addressed at half-time, and he did this by bringing on Lucas Digne for Ian Maatsen. Now what this ended up doing was it had a knock-on effect to Jacob Ramsey, who was positioned out on this left flank. It allowed Ramsey to drift infield, and this had a couple of knock-on effects. Number one is it forced Partey to be infield, but let's just talk about Partey for a second, because Mikel Arteta clearly does not trust in Jakub Kiwior to play this centre-back role. Instead, he needs Jurrien Timber to fill that position. This means that that also has a knock-on effect, and it forces Partey to come in at right-back. This naturally unsettles this Arsenal backline, and it becomes and creates a problem position for them. And I mentioned a weakness that Arsenal had, and Thomas Partey in this Arsenal setup is definitely the weakest position in the entire side, and that comes in a number of different forms. First of all, Partey is not necessarily mobile enough to be able to come and confront Lucas Digne and hold Jacob Ramsey at the same time. This is an issue because it means if Lucas Digne has the ball and he's able to whip in a cross, it means that Thomas Partey needs to come and confront that if Martinelli is not going to do his defensive work. He often cheated on the edge of that line to be able to best suit Arsenal going forwards the other way and create those attacking transitions. But Partey oftentimes was not able to come out and contest this, which meant that Lucas Digne had far too much space. The second thing is his general defensive awareness from a number of different situations, whether he's meant to push up, whether he's meant to drop, whether he's meant to stay in line with his side. While he is a good defensive player from midfield, it's a completely different ball game playing from a position that you're not necessarily used to. And while he does have some major advantages in playing at right back with his ability to invert if he needs to, with his passing range, with his vision, he is still a central midfielder playing at right back, and that means that he comes with a whole heap of problems that I've just mentioned. And it's these two, almost the fork of Aston Villa's attack, that meant that they were able to get back into the game. Let me try and show you what I'm talking about. This is in the build-up to Aston Villa's first goal, and when we can see the way that this is broken down, there is clearly a problem here. So, you've got Bogard, who's currently on the ball, but you've also got Lucas Digne out on this left-hand side. Now, look at the acres of space that he has to work with. This is crazy, and now we need to pay attention to Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey has a problem because he's got Jacob Ramsey right in front of him. He can't leave that space, because if he leaves that space, you then got a free run for Ramsey to go down this channel. He needs to protect Jurrien Timber at all costs, and this means that he needs to leave and make a decision to allow Lucas Digne to be quite free. In doing that, in leaving Lucas Digne free, when this goes forwards, it means that he's not able to come and contest. He has to leave it. The second thing we need to notice is the positioning of Youri Tielemans, our goal scorer. He's going to make a run through into the centre of the box, but he's being marked by Mikel Merino in midfield. This is absolutely fine, but keep an eye on it. As this ball goes over to Lucas Digne and he's able to put in a cross, Partey has come out to contest somewhat, but he's nowhere near close enough to be able to block the cross. This means that Aston Villa have almost a free attack. Notice Ollie Watkins. Ollie Watkins is right here. He's making a darting run through into the box. Now this has a big knock-on effect because it drags away Gabriel Magalhaes. Just look at this. He's following that run, and that means that Arsenal have a 2v2. They have Tielemans onto Merino, and they have Morgan Rogers onto Miles Lewis-Skelly. Now normally this would be fine, but look at the position and the jostling of Tielemans and Merino. As this ball gets whipped in, Tielemans gets goal side of Merino right here. We can actually zoom in and just take a look at it. Look, he's goal side of Merino, and this is where Arsenal's fortunes start to turn, because the ball is now in flight. It's being whipped over Thomas Partey's head, and it's about to hit this box right here, this danger area. And if Tielemans is goal side and onside, I might add, it really does spell huge danger. He's able to get his head on it quicker than Mourinho is able to get his foot on it, and it obviously means that he's got a massive opportunity to score a goal. And he obviously finishes it with brilliant effect. But this wouldn't have happened if A, Thomas Partey hadn't closed down the man on the wing, if B, Mourinho didn't let Youri Tielemans get goal side. But generally, it's the positioning of these Arsenal players from that defensive setup that means that Aston Villa are able to get into this attacking opportunity anyway. It's just a lack of aggression, a lack of tactical awareness, and leaving Thomas Partey with quite a bit to do. Not to mention the fact that he's out of position and he's arguably a little bit not athletic enough to be able to cope with the demands of this high-intense game. And a couple more things start to become apparent when we take a look at Aston Villa's second goal. This is again in the build-up. So you've got Matty Cash here and you've got Morgan Rogers with a 2v2 onto Arsenal's left-hand side. We're obviously on Aston Villa's right. But as Matty Cash is about to whip this ball into the box, we need to take stock of what's going on in the centre of the box. This is in response to a corner that Aston Villa just had. And we need to take note of Ollie Watkins and Thomas Partey, who are both marked right now. But we also need to have taken note of Lucas Digne here. Again, look how much space he's in. We mentioned Thomas Partey previously, and we mentioned his role that he had in not defending that Aston Villa cross well enough, and I believe that will have been in his head. So we're going to keep that in mind as this plays on. Once Matty Cash goes onto his left foot, he makes a fantastic cross through into the box. An in-swinging cross, which is so difficult to defend against. But again, we need to take stock of Thomas Partey and Ollie Watkins at the back post. Now, as this cross comes into the box, Ollie Watkins has hold of Thomas Partey. We're going to take a look at that right now. He has hold of Thomas Partey, but the moment that he lets go, he goes that way and Thomas Partey goes the other. This is the first major mistake, and it's what I'm talking about when I mean that Thomas Partey is not defensively sound when defending in these kind of situations, in these kind of areas as a right back. The ball gets whipped in perfect fashion. Again, attacking this area of the box. Really well done. Raya can't come for it. The line for Arsenal is okay. But this is where the major problem comes in. This is the huge mistake. And it's a glaring weakness on Arsenal's side from a right-back point of view. Thomas Partey onto Ollie Watkins, the striker's movement, and what Thomas Partey is doing right here, is borderline unforgivable. That might sound a little harsh, but you can't step up when the rest of your side is going that way. You can't. It just can't happen. But I don't think enough credit is being given generally to Ollie Watkins for the way that he's able to jostle Partey out of the way and then make a movement towards the box. He wants it that little bit more. So as the ball goes into the box, Ollie Watkins is free. And let's just take note of the space difference between Thomas Partey and Ollie Watkins. Remember, a couple of moments ago, Thomas Partey was marking Ollie Watkins. He had hold of Ollie Watkins. But a lot changes in a couple of moments. And as Ollie Watkins makes that connection and hits the crossbar, goes in, Thomas Partey is stood still, rooted to the spot. And I think that's a glaring issue that Arsenal have with Thomas Partey at right back. I'd go as far as to say that I don't think he can play right back anymore. Ollie Watkins and Aston Villa in general with Lucas Digne have highlighted a major issue. And they have exploited it to a fantastic extent. They managed to get their goal. It was brilliantly taken by Watkins. But again, Partey realises his mistake and it's too late for that. It was a fantastic finish. And Aston Villa get themselves back into the game, exploiting that weakness, as I mentioned, pretty brilliantly. But of course, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. What did you make of Aston Villa's comeback? And what do you make of Arsenal? Let me know. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something new. And I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, my friends, take care.